hey, Kyle, great to have you back. And, naturally the NBA cycle coming to the end here as we get toward the Eastern Conference, Western Conference finals. A lot of intrigue, I still think, left naturally, and some NBA draft intrigue as well. But when this starts happening, it's the race to the end of the season. It feels like we're getting closer.
We are getting closer. I mean, we already have one series down, 3 to go. And, these series were tied at 2-2, but it's starting to feel like we are seeing each series sway in a certain direction. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing what we get out of the Western Conference Finals. And then I'm very curious to see who makes it out of that Eastern Conference Finals series as well, to see who can give the Celtics a tough test. But like you said, we're getting down to the end of it. Only one game a night. It's a tough time of the year.
Yeah, it is. All right, so let's go back first and look at last night. I think the Mavericks are going to win the series now against Oklahoma City. This was just a huge win last night to go on the road and win. Meanwhile, Dallas has lost at home outright to OKC. OKC has lost outright a couple of times in this series, so I guess we shouldn't say that the series is over. I mean, it certainly could go back to Dallas, and OKC could win the next game very easily. But, I mean, I just don't see Dallas losing twice now. I think that's kind of the position that I would take because – I mean, if there's one, Jokic, it seems like Denver does need him to play really well, but I don't think that there's another team that's left in the NBA that's more reliant on Luka like Dallas is.
Yeah, I think Dallas really figured something out last night defensively. They were switching up looks, man and zone, making sure that Shea Gildas Alexander was seeing 3 bodies every single time that he drove the lane. And they were really determined to make somebody else on Oklahoma City beat them. And the Thunder have not shot the 3 ball all that well lately in this series, and Dallas's defense deserves a lot of the credit for that. Their 2 big guys, Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, have done a great job of keeping Shea out of the paint and making life difficult for him when he does get into the paint. Their Oklahoma City's 3-point shooters just haven't been knocking down those shots to get any relief off of Shea. So as Dallas starts to figure something out defensively, which hadn't necessarily been their identity all year, like you said, very reliant on Luka, Kyrie, guys like PJ Washington knocking down shots after the trade deadline. It feels like they are starting to find an identity on the defensive end, and that's a really scary sight for Oklahoma City because as the series goes back to Dallas, the Thunder, that young Thunder team, they stole that game 4 in Dallas. That was a really impressive win, but I don't know if they have that in them again in this next game, especially with the way that Dallas looks defensively. So I'm with you, Craig. I'm kind of thinking that the Mavericks might wrap this up in 6 games.
Yeah, or 7. Again, they only have to win one of the next 2. Meanwhile, the Boston Celtics, with that win last night, now get to rest regardless. They're going to get at least, it seems like, 3 days rest. It could get a lot more than that depending on what happens tomorrow night. But they took care of Cleveland last night, 113-98. They win the series in 5. I'm seeing these reports about maybe a new coach in Cleveland, which is sort of stunning. I mean, it made the playoffs, won the first round, played well in 2 games at least against Boston. Well, the Celtics, Kyle, as you sort of alluded to right now, it looks like they're the best team in the NBA. I think most people are hoping to get a Boston-Denver final. I don't know that we will. You never know. But the Celtics dominated the series pretty much from start to finish. Maybe it's a little unfair without Mitchell to think that Cleveland had a chance.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought that JB Bickerstaff did as good of a job as he possibly could with the roster that he had available in the series. But at the end of the day, the Celtics were just the better team. And, they've had a couple stinkers. They had the game 2 against the Heat. They had the game 2 against the Cavaliers. But all in all, it feels like this team is almost being graded a little tough just based on how successful they were in the regular season. I mean, they have the best record in the playoffs. They have the best average margin of victory in the playoffs. They have the highest point differential in the playoffs. Highest net rating in the playoffs. They've won games by 30 points. They've won 3 games by 20 points, 3 games by at least 10 points. So, even though it doesn't necessarily look pretty from the first to the third quarter, the end result is what it is. And you don't have to cover a spread to win the championship. So, right now the Celtics are looking like the favorite to win the title for sure.